23-24, going once, going twice.
We need to talk.
Chargers running back.
We need to talk about McCaffrey, Gibbs, Cook, A-Chain, Chargers running backs, and Cardinals running backs.
Okay.
Those are the talking points.
Let's do it.
All right. All right, here we go. Running backs, running backs, running backs.
Who needs running backs?
Yeah, who needs one, right? So this position has been totally just decimated with the change of the NFL going to a pass-happy league, and it's almost kind of altered the values quite a bit, especially the last 10 years. What are you kind of targeting, I guess, this year as far as running backs go, Sabri? How do you see tier 1, tier 2? What are we looking at?
So my tier 1 is a long list. It's Christian McCaffrey, and that's it. It's just Christian McCaffrey. When you score 100 points more than the next running back, yeah, you're in the tier by yourself. Yes, I'm a Niner fan. This might be biased, but yeah, you're in a tier by yourself. You get your own stats or whatever. I said that backwards, but yeah, you get what I'm trying to say. I got Christian McCaffrey ranked at a $26 value, and yeah, he's the top player on my board.
Yeah, he's definitely not the top player on my board. He's actually on my do not draft list this year. So unless he was in a free fall, I would not draft him. The amount of money that's going to have to be paid in most auction drafts to secure Christian McCaffrey, I don't think he's worth it. I think I can get 2 quality running backs without the injury risk, and that'll get plenty of volume instead of Christian McCaffrey. I do want to see him go for at least a minimum of probably 20 in $100 cap level leagues, but he's on my list to throw out there, have him eat up some money. I think Breece Hall is the top running back this year. I think he's worth buying. He's in my tier 1 along with Bijan Robinson. Christian McCaffrey, I do, out of respect, have him in tier 1, but he is on my do not draft list. I just want to throw him out there, have him eat up some money. The time to get Christian McCaffrey was 2 seasons ago when you could get him cheap and he could exceed his value. I don't think whatever you pay for Christian McCaffrey in an auction draft, you'll realize the value of what you have to pay to get him.
If you have enough people with that mindset, you're going to get Christian McCaffrey at a steal. Anything under $26 is value. So, yes, Joseph probably doesn't want to draft him because he's on the Madden cover. There's the Madden
That's
curse.
exactly why I'm not drafting him. I never draft someone on the Madden cover.
Christian McCaffrey had 400 total carries or touches last year. I get it. There's all these things that should scare you away.
Run away. Don't let the Niner fan convince you otherwise.
But there's all these bonuses. He catches the ball. He has something like 70-something catches.
So does Breece Hall.
No, Breece Hall does too. He has 1,000-yard rushing.
Breece Hall will also have that. He's got a much better offensive line and a Hall of Fame quarterback in Aaron Rodgers under center.
McCaffrey has double-digit touchdown potential. Again.
So does Breece Hall, not only rushing but receiving as well.
And Christian McCaffrey has Trent Williams. Breece Hall doesn't have that. So yeah, I just threw that out there just to
I'm all in on Breece Hall. I think people are crazy if they think Christian McCaffrey is gonna repeat what he did last season, and they're willing to pay the value that it would require for fantasy money to acquire him in an auction draft.
I understand for the value and the price, like he would have to repeat at least. But when you get McCaffrey, you're just expecting a top 3. The biggest strength to Christian McCaffrey is Kyle Shanahan. He wants to get him the ball. He wants to get him in the end zone. And to have a coach dedicated to just getting him the ball and getting those points, and he's proven. Everybody else is not proven. McCaffrey is proven. I get their scares and risks, but what risk and scare is not out there with any running back? So yeah, take the discount at McCaffrey if the league gives it to you, and yeah, draft Christian McCaffrey. And just so you know, in my tier 2 is Brees Hall and Bijan Robinson. I have them both at a $23 value, so I don't disagree. I think they're both first round elite talents, but if I had my choice, I'm taking McCaffrey over both of them.
Yeah, at minimum, I want to see Brees Hall go for at least 24, if not more. I want to see Bijan going for 22. Like I said, Christian McCaffrey's on kind of my do not draft list, but I do want to see him go for a minimum of 20 in all leagues. If I can get him for 20, I'll take him for 20, but odds are he's probably going to push around 30 in a 100 cap league. So my tier 1 is your tier 1 and tier 2 combined.
Yeah.
So now we're going to kind of probably parallel a bit here, and we're going to be off tilt with tiers. So our next tier down, what do you have going in your tier 3 here?
So my tier 3, number 4 rank is Jonathan Taylor for $18, Saquon Barkley $17, Jahmyr Gibbs $16, and Kyron Williams $16.
That's very interesting. I don't have Jahmyr Gibbs or Kyron Williams ranked that high. I don't think the value is there for what you have to pay for them. They both have the potential of having touches taken away from them. I think your real value in that next tier down, and my tier 2 is going to be Saquon Barkley is the next one. I want Saquon in every league I can have him. I think Jonathan Taylor is a great grab, and I think Isaiah Pacheco is in the next tier along with Rachaad White. I want the opportunity. I want the volume that Isaiah Pacheco and Rachaad White are going to bring to the table. I'm at 18 on Barkley, 17 on Taylor, and 15 on White and Pacheco.
Okay. So no Gibbs, no Barkley. I'm just curious, not to get you to skip down the tier, but what are your values on Gibbs and Kyron Williams?
Well, first of all, I want to make it very clear. I think Gibbs is a great player, great running back. I'm sure he's going to see a lot, but if all the running backs are healthy in Detroit, he's going to get vultured at the goal line. He's not the goal line back. If it's short, he's not getting the ball. And I want to stay away from guys that are not going to be in the end zone.
So there was a statistic out there when Montgomery was hurt. Gibbs proved he was the goal line back. And when Montgomery came back, they had an even split on goal line carries. So I would disagree with you on that. And I would say as the rookie running back last year, Montgomery was the man, and they paid him that contract. But now that we're in his second year, I think we're going to see a transition where Jahmyr Gibbs gets a little more touches and Montgomery takes a small step backwards. It's still going to be pretty even, but I could see the change happening.
So let me get this straight. You're willing to pay what was it?
16.
16. So you're willing to pay 16 for Jahmyr Gibbs, and you know he's in a shared backfield with touches, when I know I could have probably Jonathan Taylor, Isaiah Pacheco, or Rachaad White for 16 or less, and they will not be sharing anything in the backfield. I totally disagree. I want the volume. I want the touches.
I have Barkley higher than Gibbs. You could have Rachaad White all day. I don't want to give me Gibbs.
I'll take the touches. I don't have the exact stat in front of me, but Rachaad White had more touches than I believe any other running back last year.
No, I agree with you. I believe that stat is correct. Can you tell me his yards per carry? I believe it was pretty low.
It was a low. He's not as efficient, but the offensive line that the Bucs had was terrible to start the season. They started to clean it up as the season wrapped up, and it's only gotten better since last year.
For $1 more, give me the Lions offensive line and the shared touches. I'm okay with that.
Okay. Well, you like shared touches and I don't. So that's a key difference probably between our rankings and how we see things.
Yeah, I'm right. You're wrong.
Oh, okay.
So going into tier 4, tier 4. This is what, your tier 3?
I would even rather have Derrick Henry
I like Derrick Henry.
Yeah, but
But you
you
gotta
see,
get him out of value.
well, no, you can get Derrick Henry for less than what you would pay for Jahmyr
Well,
Gibbs, and Derrick Henry's going to get all the
he's
touches.
in your next tier, right?
He's in my next tier
So
down.
how much do you have him for in your next
14.
tier? Okay.
That's the minimum I want to
We're
see him
same
go.
We're same page. My tier 4 is your tier 3.
Yep.
So I got Kamara at 8 for 15. I got ETN for 15. I got A-Chain for 15. I got Pacheco for 14. Henry for 14. Rashad White for 14. And then I got Joe Mixon for 14 ending my tier. So it seems number-wise we're not far off. Just ranking-wise.
We're not very far off as far as numbers go, but I think our rankings are definitely a little different. You know, and you know this. I prioritize kind of opportunity and touches above kind of what people did last year. So, and I don't like shared situations. I like knowing my backs are going to get all the touches. I like grabbing backs that are going to get everything, even if they're inefficient. I know they're getting all the opportunities.
Well, as the NFL transitions to a passing league, it's going to be harder to find. So yeah, in that tier 1 or tier 2, yeah, if you could get them, but as you drop down in rank and tier, they're going to share carries in the backfield. So yeah, I think we're okay in value. And
In tier 3, I have James Cook. I noticed that you didn't have him ranked here in your next tier that kind of parallels mine. I like James Cook this year. I have him at a value of about 13. I think he's going to get the lion's share of the touches in Buffalo, and I think with all the wide receivers leaving, he's going to get some extra dump down balls, which is going to increase his value this year. He's not on a must draft list, but I'm definitely not looking to avoid him. Where do you have James Cook on your list, and why is he not higher?
So James Cook is actually a tier down. I have him ranked number 17 at a $12 value. So value, we're not too far off, but I don't plan on drafting James Cook at all this year. It was shown last year that even when they switched offensive coordinators, they did not want to use him in the end zone or the red zone. Josh Allen was the guy. He had 15 rushing touchdowns. And when Josh Allen wasn't running the ball in, they were giving the ball to old man Latavius Murray. So he was getting the cleanup touchdowns. Then we're talking about the passing game. They drafted a rookie, Ray Davis. They're saying in camp that he might not even be the third down back. So if he's not getting the touchdowns and he's not getting close to 40 receptions, I don't want him. I don't want to pay 12 or above for him. If you could get him at an $8 value, okay, now we're getting more into value. But James Cook you're looking at 12 to $15 range for a running back, and I'm just not willing to pay the price for that risk.
Interesting. Okay. Well, so we've already started to talk kind of about a little further down the tiers. And, you know, I had kind of, you know, after Rashad White, I had Derrick Henry, Etienne, Mixon, and Cook. I have Henry and Etienne at 14 as the minimum I want to see him going for. And I have Mixon and Cook at 13. I really, the one guy I want to highlight is Joe Mixon. I know he's getting older. I'm sure a lot of people are probably going to avoid him. He's the lone guy in Houston. He's going to get all the volume. He's going to get everything there, and he's going to get some dump down stuff as well. I really like Mixon as a sneaky value late in drafts, and even a possible cheap add to your team for the right price. I mentioned 13 at a minimum. That's because I honestly think if I were to get into a bidding contest, I could get him probably around that $7 or $8 mark.
Well, I don't know about that. So I have Joe Mixon as the end of my tier 4, ranked 14. He's a $14 value. I like him. I agree with you. He's the guy. He's the guy in that backfield for Houston. He's going to get opportunities to score. He's going to get opportunities to catch the ball. I don't think you're going to get a steal or a value on him for $7 or $8. I just don't see it. Someone is gonna take him and pay. And you're in my league, so yeah, I'll probably be the one that pays for him. And I do want to say he's the last person on my list or ranking system that I consider those hero running backs. So when I say hero running backs, it's the last. If you only want one running back on your draft in the first 7 rounds, he's in that last rank or tier where you could get away with drafting Joe Mixon as a hero running back. Everyone below him is you better have some other support.
Interesting. Okay.
So let's
So
move
so
on.
you yeah, and so something that's I think is also kind of interesting is, the next tier I started with A Chain, and I actually have him ranked above Kyron Williams and Jameer Gibbs.
I like A Chain, but wait, you have it.
But I have A Chain much further down the board than what you do.
What number is he for you?
I have A Chain at 12.
Okay, I have A Chain at 10 at a $15 value.
Yeah, I got A Chain
So-
more around 12.
I like A Chain a lot. So here's my thing: when you play fantasy football, you're not playing for 5th place or 6th place. You want to be first place. Like my friend Ricky Bobby always said, if you're not first, you're last. And A Chain is that guy. He goes 0 to 100 fast. I get it; it's a shared backfield, but that upside is there. That risk and that reward, the reward is worth it with A Chain. He's on a Dolphins team that they just want to move the ball and score. They proved it. They showed it last year, and their defense took a hit. I think there's going to be a lot of shootouts, a lot of high scoring games. So I think A Chain is worth the risk this year.
Interesting. I'll pass on that risk.
I'll take the reward.
Okay, we'll see. I'll pass on that risk. But who are some other people that you highlighted? I mean, we're starting to get into that area where you were talking about their past the hero running backs. A few people kind of jumped out. I mean, I know if you look at most standard draft lists, there's been some debates kind of formulating around the Chargers backfield and the Cardinals backfield as far as those running backs. Where are you right now on the Chargers backfield?
So Chargers backfield, oh man, that's rough. So you got a coach who wants to run the ball, but you have no running backs. You got J.K. Dobbins coming off multiple injuries, multiple years in a row. Then you got Gus Edwards, who actually had a pretty solid year last year, scoring touchdowns, but he just had a off-season surgery, so he hasn't been with the team. And then you have a rookie, what's his name? The rookie, Vidal?
Yeah.
So you have the rookie Vidal, who a lot of people have high hopes for, but I don't know if he's going to get any carries. So if you're going to do some risk, I think if you want that backfield, I think you go J.K. Dobbins. I think the value for $3 is there. I believe that's what I have him at, $3 value. If you get them cheaper, that's even better, but you're probably getting the rushing attempt leader on the Chargers with J.K. Dobbins. I don't know if he's going to be healthy. He shouldn't be your 1 or 2 if he's on your team. If you go 0 running back, he might be a good addition. Gus Edwards, I'm staying away. I'm staying away from the others. What about you? How do you feel about the Chargers running backs?
Anytime the backfield becomes that convoluted, I try to stay away from it. Personally, I actually like the Arizona backfield much better.
Yeah, do you
I
like
would
the
I would
backfield or just
James
Conner?
No, the backfield in general. I'm not terribly big on James Conner. I don't see the value there in what you have to pay for James Conner, but I do really like Trey Benson.
What's James Conner's rank and value?
James Conner's rank and value is...
So I have him at rank 18, and I have him at a $10 value. I think that's a great price for the number one running back on the team. Someone who could catch, score. He's been proven. The risk is he's going to get injured, and I believe that's already built in his price. So I have him at $10 value. Um, but yeah, I like James Conner. I think if you go that zero running back style, I think he could be a great number one on a style like that on your team.
I don't entirely disagree with you, but I want nothing to do really with James Conner. Uh, I I think for what you pay to get him, I question if he's going to be effective this year, and I don't think he's the starter. I think Trey Benson's the starter. I'm targeting Trey Benson deep in drafts. I
So
mean, he's my Trey Benson is my last round kind of flyer this year. If I need one for the running back position, I think he's going to start. I think he's going to eventually take stuff away from James Conner and be the starter by the end of the year. Um, Trey Benson is a rookie, so I don't anticipate him starting the year. So if you draft Trey Benson after listening to me and you're starting him to begin the year and you lose, do not come and blame me. That's not what I'm saying. I think Trey Benson is a great guy to have and stash away on your bench for later in the year because I think he takes the backfield over.
I think he takes the backfield if Connor gets injured. I think it's Connor's backfield as long as he's healthy. I agree. I think Trey Benson is a great $1 pickup at the end of the draft, a late round flyer for snake drafts. But yeah, I think, yeah, nothing wrong with taking him at the end, putting him on your bench and see what happens. So another backfield I want to talk about is the Steelers' backfield. What do you think about Najee Harris and Jalen Warren? Well, this just in, I was higher on Jalen Warren, but he has a hamstring injury, so I guess I'm higher on Najee Harris now. Jalen Warren could miss what 1 to 2 weeks.
Yeah, it looks like he has a hamstring issue. It's going to hinder him the first few weeks of the season. That pretty much plummets him out of he's on my do not draft list. He's not worth it at that point.
Yeah, agree. Hamstrings for running backs.
It actually,
all year.
yeah, that could linger all year. I actually think that actually helps Najee Harris's value. You might have to bump him up a little bit in priority.
I don't know if I'm gonna. Let me see. I don't know if I would bump him up because I have Montgomery ahead of him, but I will say, I would feel safer about drafting him because of Najee Harris with Arthur Smith.
Yeah,
you never know.
And without that extra competition for touches and whatnot, I think that makes him a slam dunk. Especially hamstring issues linger.
Yeah.
They go on and on and on. Once they start, you need a lot of time to rest them. It usually takes a month. So he's probably going to miss what? I don't want to play doctor. He's gonna miss the rest of preseason and probably the first month of the season.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess Najee Harris might climb up boards, and yeah, I was a little higher on Jalen Warren, but maybe we're not drafting him. Do you even see Jalen Warren as a value now? What if you get him for $2?
He might be a value pick. You get him for $1 or $2, stash him away, and you hope the backside of the season he emerges and for a playoff push or take you to the finish line. But one thing that I wanted to do before we close out kind of this session around running backs is who are some of the running backs that you feel that there's going to be good value down the board if you're taking kind of that zero RB approach, or maybe you get like the one hero running back and you're not able to get some guys further, in the middle that you were targeting. Who are some late round flyers that you really like, or guys maybe that near the bottom of the draft that you really want to get your hands on?
Sorry, when you say value, are we talking about $1 value or what kind of value?
I would say any running back that's maybe $5 or less.
Oh, $5. Okay. So if we're going to that $5 or less value,
going to the bargain bin.
I like Jerome Ford on Cleveland. I don't think Chubb is coming back anytime soon. So if you could get Jerome Ford for $5 or less, I have him at a $5 value, but that's because I expect him to play minimum 6 games as a starter. Another one that could be a sneaky value is Jonathan Brooks.
I have
rookie for
Jonathan Brooks there also.
Carolina
I like Jonathan
Panthers.
Brooks this year.
So he's the opposite of Jerome Ford. So he might not play the first month of the season, but if you could get him at the end of the season and that playoff push, that might be a great $5 spit. Do you have anybody on the lower tier that you like?
I already kind of mentioned Trey Benson. He's really my go-to late round flyer. I think a lot of the obvious people that are out there, the Rico Dodals in Dallas, I think that's a very interesting pick late in games.
What do you have him valued at?
I have him as high as 4.
Oh, I actually have him a little bit higher, but yeah.
But
I think he could be a sneaky value.
He's a sneaky value. I don't think he's gonna. If he starts going much higher than $5, I mean, I think we're venturing into him being a key piece versus a sleeper or a guy you're taking a flyer on. Another one that's kind of sneaky is Zach Charbonnet in Seattle.
That's fun. He was one that I was going to bring up also.
Yeah, I think Zach Charbonnet is a sneaky good value. I've heard a lot of the talking heads and network guys kind of talking a lot about taking late round flyers on like Keandre Miller in New Orleans as well. One guy though that I wanted to kind of highlight as a do not draft is Austin Eckler. I know he's moving to a new team. He's on my do not draft list. I really don't want to see him at all, but those are a few.
Disagree with you,
but you're gonna disagree with me.
so
you
I gotta agree with you.
Oh, you?
I gotta agree with you. Like Zach Charbonnet, he is on my sneaky draft. I have him at a $3 value, but
That's about where I had him.
In reality, in the auction league and late drafts, you should be getting him for a $1 to $2.
Yep.
And yeah, you should be happy. I don't know if he'll be the backup for very long. At the very least, he should be the third down back. And then, yeah, Austin Eckler, the guy just doesn't want to play. He wants to be the backup. So they're saying Brian Robinson looks good catching the ball. So Eckler might not even be a third down back. He might be more of a change of pace back, which is good for Brian Robinson and bad for Eckler. So, yeah, I agree with you. And I think that's a good way to end this running back topic. And we'll post our tiers and ranking with our values so you can get a better look and compare them to what we have. And if you want to compare them to what you guys have.
If you have any questions or comments or you just want to talk football or fantasy with us, feel free to.
Yeah,
we love it.
All day,
we love
every
it.
day. All right. Happy drafting. What if that's my new slogan? Happy drafting. That's all I could think of.
That's fine.
Not creative at all.
That's fine.
Are you learning anything, James? What? He's like, I'm not even listening.
James is like.
ChatGPT is getting all this information.
ChatGPT's like, I disagree.
These two are idiots.
These two are idiots.
You know what's funny?
Yeah, it's 5, so we got to keep cooking, man. Took you 3 hours to get going.
Bro, it took you. I have to draft.
Whatever.
Just go to eBay.
eBay? We're recording a podcast and you're over here eBaying?
What if I win?
Gosh. What if you win? What if you win?
Oh, 20. Oh, no, I'm not paying that price. I really want this card, though, at 2 hours, 46 minutes.
Brock Purdy.
Bro.
Better set another alarm, dude.
Yeah.